Hello everyone and welcome back to another session of Dark Souls 3 PvP and another weapon showcase. Today we are using the Rapier, tried and true. Great little weapon right here, although not the greatest in its class, it is still pretty spiffy. So let's get started with the basics on this weapon. The Rapier requires 7 strength and 12 dexterity in order to wield. It has a physical base damage of 190, and it has a D scaling in strength and a B scaling in dexterity. When you infuse this one with refined, it actually gets a double C scaling, so that's what I'm using currently with this. And overall, it's a good weapon all around. It's a good weapon to have as a backup. Maybe not necessarily as a primary, there are better weapons for that. However, as a backup in a pinch, you can use it for some of the utilities it has. You can use it for its turtle poking, you can use it for the little backwards jump slash that you do instead of a kick. There are options with this weapon. And its damage isn't half bad. It's not the greatest, of course, but it makes up for it in other ways. Now, this weapon has a really fun moveset to use, and the weapon's skill is very valuable with it. With the weapon's skill, it's a stance skill, so you have 2 different attacks that you can do while you're in that stance. You can do the quick dodge back, jump forward, or you can do the jump forward multi-stab attack. Now that multi-stab, there are some issues with it, I'll get into that later on, but as long as we're talking about pros, I would definitely list the fact that you can mix up your attacks in the stance as a pro. It's a very good thing to be able to do, and the attacks deal a decent amount of damage. The biggest pro of this weapon, however, is the fact that all of its attacks are of course thrusting attacks, and because of that, work with the Leo ring. This weapon's counter damage is not something to be overlooked, and because of that, I would highly recommend trying to get counter hits as often as you possibly can when you're using this weapon. In the video, you will see a fair number of fights where I hit over 400 damage, over 450 damage with counter attacks, whereas with a normal hit, it's around 200 to 300. It makes a very significant difference when you get those counters. And it does, in a way, encourage you to play a little bit more reactively, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, and as a way of using it as a backup weapon, offers you an easy opportunity to change your fighting style. You can go from being very aggressive to being more reactive, back and forth, which is something you should do anyway, but having a weapon that encourages both styles of play, it's a utility. It's something that's good to do, and it helps build that habit, which is always a good thing. So, other pros of the weapon, aside from the fact that it's got the counter hits, it's got the utility of its stance, it's got the ability to turtle poke, and I like that a lot. It can get you out of trouble in a lot of instances, and if you're lower on health, if you have a shield that's got a good amount of blocking ability, even though when you turtle poke you still will take chip damage through your shield, even if it's 100% block shield, you'll still take that chip damage. It's good to be able to do if both you and your opponent are low on health. If you're worried about not being able to get that final hit in, then go for the turtle poke. You might pull out a win. You never know. So as far as the cons of this weapon are concerned, biggest con is the lack of damage on regular hits. Yes, the counter hits make up for that in a way, however, it's not the end-all be-all. Your attacks are not going to be exclusively counter-attacks. If they are, by all means, do that. You're good at the game. Take advantage of that fact. But I can't get that, most people can't get that, and it's something that's really hard to do. So, with that, you have to keep in mind, you need to stay moving, you need to mix up your attacks. There are ways to get around it, but it still is the biggest con. Other than that, another major issue with the weapon is that its stance R2, the multi-thrust attack, is incredibly easy to parry. Even if they're in the middle of being hit by it, it is still possible to pull a parry out of that, and that can put you into some bad situations, to say the very least. But overall, it's a good weapon. Not the greatest main weapon, not the best weapon in its class, but it offers a few things that can really help make up for its shortcomings, and I had a good time with it. If you guys haven't ever messed with a rapier, try it out, see how you like it. You never know, you might find a new weapon to use as a backup. Either way though guys, this is the last fight in the video. I hope you all enjoy this one, found it helpful in one way or another. please like, subscribe, and all of that good stuff, and I will see you guys next time.